Children's Land event sneak peek. Towards freedom. Obtain smile stamps through daily tasks and Fantasy Wander and Balloon Assassin to increase pure heart experience. Obtain Wander dice and more Children's Land rewards. Players will receive one prize for each wandering dice spent. After 100 draws, they are guaranteed to obtain a limited reward. If a player obtains a limited reward in advance, the draw count will be reset. When obtaining a limited item with a count of 1, all limited item counts will be reset. After drawing Arakarlok or Holy Dragon for 30 times, they will be...
What's up, guys? How's it going? So, once again, playing around with stats and things that are just kind of fun to play with. Here's a quick little build for you. So, I'm running a skill crit combination. I just happened to notice that I had some combo inside some of my sets. And I thought, you know, it'd be kind of interesting. What if we just combined stun, combo, a little bit, you know, just kind of even it out a little bit. And so this is what I've got for a build, right? It's not a super crazy in any one place, but it's 40% combo, almost 40% evasion. And then I have a skill crit of 50% with a skill damage of 354, a skill crit of 136. It's not too like into any one thing, right? Plus it's got 2200 for the combo multiplier. For the skills I'm using Blade Pierce, Clone Strike, Star Array, Shroom Shield, Dazzled, and then for the actual timing, basically just have no delay except for the third skill, which in this particular build is the clone, because we just use the clone to stall, and we'll use the shield out of the gate, you know, just basically get us going. And then for the pals, I'm using the Treasure Dragon. I'm using Hero Bird to basically inflate the speed of our attacks. Fiery Tail to make our skill damage. We're basically lacking a lot of it, so by using this, we're kind of inflating it. And then Alpine Fox, and because I just happen to have Righteous Banana, I thought, oh, well, this will be interesting. Add 10% combo with, you know, a bonus to that counter damage. Now, if I could, I would absolutely use Pirate Octopus instead, because you'd grant yourself another 60% in counter damage, and then every 3 combos deal another 200%. And I'd probably swap either the Fox for that, but, you know, either way. The idea behind this build, though, is basically in the relics, you're going to swap your... Where I've normally ran Demon's Mask, but I'm already at 50% skill crit rate, which means basically 50% of the time I'm going to be doing a skill crit anyway. So I thought, okay, let's just take the 10% you get out of the combo, right? Get your Thundercaller Kite. Because we're not using the Cat Prince, it makes more sense to use the Metamorphic Crystal to increase the Fox. I mean, and a good probable, like, if I was to swap this out, right, then this becomes kind of a question mark, because a lot of these skills no longer have any value. At least by having it there, at least it gets used. Of course, I'm using Stellar Statue. I could use Time Statue, but I like Stellar in part because it increases the length of time for Star Array to fire off anyway. And then I'm using Flamebook for the PvP damage, and then for Storm Necklace, basically I'm just buffing our Clone Strike. I mean, if I had a way to really tweak this, you know, you could just as easily swap, say, to the Crimson Sickle, because we have Blade Pierce. If you don't want the 30% or so for, you know, DPS coming off your clone. And all you're doing by doing that is just giving yourself a heal every time Blade Pierce fires off. Which, I don't know. As you can tell, I've never really seen any value in that. I mean, maybe it's go, but like, it just doesn't work for me. It makes more sense to just go ahead and buff Clone Strike, because clones are going to basically sit there and do DPS for us anyway. Plus, if you actually look at the skill, by buffing it 30%, you're basically giving it 230% on the basic attack, which, I don't know, every little bit helps. But I'm sure at scale, like, if you use Blade Pierce and had it on rapid fire, it might make more sense to do it that way. But the idea is kind of incorporating a little bit of what I've learned about disarm stun builds and what we've gathered already with Star Array and what we can achieve with skill crit being on a Holy Mage build, right? But then I thought, you know, there's also no reason why we couldn't just incorporate combo into this. And because we've already got, so I've got Round Pepe doing a 1 second additional stun on bosses. and or, you know, every time it defeats an enemy, I'm getting 15% attack. Plus, we've also got the Celestial Surprise giving us an AoE bleed damage every 11 seconds and using our basic attack up to 5 times. Plus, I've also got some souls in here, and I would like to increase my combo damage, so I've got to basically dump more into that in order to really see any benefit from the soul. In the actual prayer statue, I'm doing a triple S tier global attack, a combo and a skill damage, and I'm trying to swap out this boss damage for basically another combo, which should give me another 50 to 60% more combo damage. But, you know, you could also just as easily invest this into skill damage, and I feel like you can kind of play around with that, but it's like, I feel like you can either go heavy into one stat, right, and just go super heavy with a 40% combo firing off every time. You could improve your combo damage and then therefore increase the likelihood you're going to practically hit every time with high combo damage. Or you could just increase your skill damage, which you know is going to fire off 50% of the time anyway, and then you've got a lot of damage coming in that way. But the idea is that by basically having combos fire off and skill crits at the same time, that it's basically making this build work a little bit more for us. The big thing I felt like the reason why I kind of did this in the first place, right, is because what I'm trying to do is find ways to where we can increase, like, basically we need our basic attacks to fire off more frequently for the stuns. And if there's anything I'm tweaking and trying to adjust more than anything right now, it's basically trying to find unique and creative ways to get a stun to fire off more frequently. Because in the case of our build, every time a stun fires off, its cooldown duration on our skills is going down. And so by firing off more and more stuns, we're basically increasing the likelihood that our other skills are going to pop, which is also more than likely going to cause a skill crit to fire off. And it just kind of ripples that way. And by using combos, it's just kind of a way to, because I always felt like in, you know, a full skill crit build, the only problem is that like your individual basic attacks are too slow, and this combo is kind of this intermediary in between that gives you just enough to get by. And I ultimately think that's part of the reason why I like it so far. I mean, I don't know if you guys have tried using combo this way, but the way I'm using it, it's really kind of fun to play with. Like, it is kind of an interesting ploy here, and I know that a lot of people will tell you that you really shouldn't be using combo in mage builds. You know, you should be focusing on skill crit and you should be focusing on stun. But I feel like in a way you can almost kind of play around with this a little bit, and maybe there is a completely different avenue for this build that I've never really even thought to try. And thus, you know, here we are playing around with things that are just kind of fun and different. But ultimately, I just thought I'd kind of showcase what I was doing, and kind of the mindset behind why I'm doing it. I will say that out of all the skills, the one that I'm playing around with the most here is Blade Pierce. You guys probably have noticed I've ran 100 slashes for a while, so I would run that with 100 slashes. I mean, and you know, I don't know, you can also just as easily like pull this out, put in Wild Guess, for example, and try to leverage that. I could also throw in Disarm and make it stun more, and maybe that would work better, you know, or I could even throw a Smoke Bomb in there and get another 30% DPS so that when Star Array fires off, it does a ton of damage. But, you know, it's just like whatever you decide to do, whether you want to stall them or do more DPS or even get like damage immunity like you can with Blitz Assault, I just feel like you've got to find a way to either stall and or do a lot of damage. And one thing I'm really finding to be nice about Blade Pierce is the fact that it's doing 5,000% damage, but then I'm taking 1.5% of the max HP off every 5 seconds, which, you know, basically the equivalent of a lot of DPS, really. I mean, because I mean, yeah, I'm going to get half percentage of my max HP, but the biggest issue with my Prophet build in particular is I compare myself to like other strength warrior builds, and that skill works great because they have a lot of HP. But in this build, there's not enough HP to make that skill work as well as it could. And so for that reason, I'm kind of like drifting away from that skill and more towards like Blade Pierce for this particular use case. And I mean, it's not doing too bad by any means. Like, you can kind of see how once Blade Pierce kicks in, that drops them down faster and really kind of makes this work better. Now, I mean, I don't know, as far as the pals are concerned, like, I do see the benefit of using, like, the Hydra Sprite, for example, if you're wanting to fire off your active skill more and more and more, because you're basically going to trigger the more likely stuns, basically, and you're kind of jumping the gun there, so to speak, but getting a lot of benefit out of it. And you could just as easily do that, but I feel like in order to really find the most benefit here, you just kind of have to play with it some to kind of find where that balance is going to be. But traditional builds are running Hydro Sprite with cat prints instead of using the Hero Bird and the banana. But, you know, it's just something that I was playing around with, and I just thought I'd point out and make a video about today. So, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.
Alright, so pretty much you just need to follow along, and this is going to pretty much show you how to get that 5% discount on your purchases in Legend of Mushroom. So this is all you pretty much need to do is just basically install Legend of Mushroom, and you have to have Aptoid's version of this, and then of course you need to have the AppCoin wallet as well. Again, these are both in the description down below, so you're more than welcome to take a look at these, come and download them. And then once you've actually downloaded them and installed them, then all you got to do is basically open it up. And the AppCoin's wallet is basically a crypto app in a sense. I mean, really all you're going to do is just go to the rewards tab, go to the promo codes tab, put in the promo code that I've got down in the description, which is Dakanoth LM. And then you'll be able to get your 5% extra bonus on the game. So you can save money playing the game.
Alright, so pretty much you just need to follow along, and this is going to pretty much show you how to get that 5% discount on your purchases in Legend of Mushroom. So this is all you pretty much need to do is just basically install Legend of Mushroom, and then of course you need to have the AppCoin wallet as well. Again, these are both in the description down below, so you're more than welcome to take a look at these, come and download them. And then once you've actually downloaded them and installed them, then all you got to do is basically open it up. And the AppCoin's wallet is basically a crypto app in a sense. And I mean, really all you're going to do is just go to the rewards tab, go to the promo codes tab, put in the promo code that I've got down in the description, which is Dakanoth LM. And then you'll be able to get your 5% extra bonus on the game. So you can save money playing the game.
Alright, so pretty much you just need to follow along, and this is going to pretty much show you how to get that 5% discount on your purchases in Legend of Mushroom. So this is all you pretty much need to do is just basically install Legend of Mushroom. And you have to have Aptoid's version of this, and then of course you need to have the AppCoin wallet as well. Again, these are both in the description down below, so you're more than welcome to take a look at these, come and download them. And then once you've actually downloaded them and installed them, then all you got to do is basically open it up. And the AppCoin's wallet is basically a crypto app in a sense. I mean, really all you're going to do is just go to the rewards tab, go to the promo codes tab, put in the promo code that I've got down in the description, which is Dakanoth LM. And then you'll be able to get your 5% extra bonus on the game. So you can save money playing the game.